After Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, now Sony buys Bungie. And we can talk about how huge the price was, the fact that Blizzard was more expensive. We can talk if the games will remain exclusive or not. But does it really matter? I mean, come on, these are garbage companies. And I think this is why Sony and Microsoft buys these companies. Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, Bungie. These are companies that failed over and over in the last years. So Microsoft and Sony saw the opportunity to buy some companies for a cheap price. And I don't think this is because they think they can do better games or they know how to improve the games that these companies make. I think this is because they think they can attract more customers. For example, Activision Blizzard. Even if the company is a complete failure, there's still a lot of fanboys that will run back to the company as fast as they can when a new game comes out. And I think especially Xbox wants this. They know that a lot of people don't care about their console. I think there are still less plays, and I noticed that because most of the people who want to buy a console want a PlayStation or a Nintendo. The only thing that the Xbox has to offer for some people is a subscription for the people who don't want to own their games. And I know in the future they will make even more exclusives, but for now I'm pretty sure they will not manage to compete with Nintendo or PlayStation. And I don't think they really care, because they also have the PC market. And sure, a lot of people may not like Xbox or don't want an Xbox, but a lot of people have a PC and Windows, so they can still make a lot of money. Well, PlayStation sells on their platform and now they are trying to sell on Steam and Epic Game Store, so they are making sure that in the future they can compete with Xbox, even if it's not quite the same. I mean, Xbox still has their own store, they don't sell on Steam. Well, they do sell on Steam, but they also have their own store. And I think they will try to force that store in Windows 11. But even if not, people still use their store. So they don't make money from their own exclusives. They still take 30% from selling other developers' games on their platform, on their store. And on the other hand, Sony makes a lot of money from selling their exclusives on Steam, Epic Games, or whatever. So they don't make money from other developers unless they sell it on their PlayStation Store. So long story short, Xbox needs more fans. And a bigger reason for people to buy their console. Not because it's cheaper than a PC, and that it's made to run any game that is released on that platform, so you don't have to worry about your hardware. They also want people to buy their console just like they buy Nintendo, because a lot of people, including me, I don't like the Nintendo console. Sure, it's awesome if you want a portable console and you don't want a mobile, but I will love a little more performance from Nintendo. But people still buy their console because they have a lot of exclusives. So this is what Xbox is trying, to be able to compete with Nintendo or PlayStation. And Sony is trying to not rely only on their store to sell games, at least their games. So I think PlayStation and Sony made really good decisions. But here is where I don't agree. Sure, Activision Blizzard was a huge company, a very loved company. Bethesda the same. And you can say even Bungie because of Destiny and Halo. And we can talk about the fact that Bungie is somewhat connected with Activision and blah blah blah. I don't really care about their history. What I want to talk about is that these companies are failures. They are losing fans, nobody cares about their games, and they don't manage to make good games anymore. And this will never change because the good people that used to work for Activision, Bethesda, Bungie are gone. I'm pretty sure most of them made their own companies, or they just work for other companies that give them a lot of money. So the people who have the talent to make good games are not working at that company anymore. Or let's say some of them still are. Most of the time they don't have the creative freedom they want. Because there's always a director or a CEO who thinks he knows better. You know, the ones that never played the game in their life, but they always know what the gamers want. and after the game comes out and it's a big failure, they blame it on something else. Just like they do with movies or comic books. So I don't really understand why a lot of people are going crazy that Microsoft buys Activision or Bethesda and Sony buys Bungie and whatever. Well, actually Sony bought something really good. The company that's PC port specialist, Nixie Software. Because Sony wants to port more of their games on PC, but they didn't have a team that specialized in something like this. So buying a company that is specialized in something like this was a good move by Sony. And I think this was more important than buying Bungie. But let's start with Bethesda. Bethesda used to make good games, but we all know how bad Fallout 4 was. Well, unless you played it with mods. But let's be real, mods make a lot of games better. But the last game that Bethesda made was the shitty Fallout 76 online, and nobody wanted to play that. Not even for free. It was garbage, it has no content, it was exactly like Fallout 4, but with a lot less content and no NPCs. And all they had to say is that everything just works. Well, I think after the CEO, whatever his name is, after he said that, a lot of people got angry and left the company. Because things don't just work. A lot of people sacrificed a lot. They sacrificed their life, their free time, their friends, their family, so they can make sure the game will not be a complete failure at launch. And then comes the shitlord, the owner of the company, that didn't do shit, that has a lot of time and money and can do whatever he wants, and says, well, the game just works. I don't know, it's magic. Fuck you. And yeah, in case you didn't know, his name is Todd Howard. He's game director and executive producer and whatever other stuff. And I really hate him because after he said it just works, I'm pretty sure that a lot of employees said, you motherfucker, I did overtime, I worked my ass off just so this shitty game can somewhat be released and be okay. And after we made so many efforts to make sure this game is not a complete failure, you come out, the person that's overpriced, that has a lot of time, that doesn't make sacrifices, well, it just works. Yeah, because fuck the developers, am I right? They don't work, the game just works. And even if he said something about the developers, it's still shitty. Because I'm 100% sure the developer said, dude, the game is not ready, dude, the game is not fine, the game lacks content, the game lacks polish. And then he comes and says, don't worry guys, it just works. For some reason, every year I stay to spend all my money, and after I come back to the company, the game just works. Anyway, I wanted to say this for a long time because I really hated Todd Howard for saying that. Because you know he's not the one who's getting stressed that the game is not finished, that the game has a lot of bugs, that they don't know how to finish everything in time. He just comes to work thinking, oh, I wonder what bonus I will get this year. And where will I go in vacation? And what car or house should I buy? Meanwhile, the rest of the developers barely have money to pay rent, and they are stressed to make sure the game is ready, to make sure they don't lose their job, or to make sure they will be promoted. Anyway, this is Bethesda and I don't expect to get better games from them. Especially now that it's owned by Xbox. And Xbox loves censorship. I don't see them liking creativity. And I don't see Todd Howard wanting to improve in any way. But the best thing that I'm expecting from them is a well-polished game. Because now they are owned by Xbox and they should have more money. And more time. But let's be real, a game like Fallout 76, even if it's well-polished, it's still a shit game. It has nothing to do with Fallout. It has no story and your choices doesn't mean anything, even if it was some story. The best thing that they can do is maybe make good gameplay and the ability to make your own city, but I'm 100% sure they will not manage to do that. So next, Activision Blizzard. All the good people who made the games that you love are long gone from the company. Not now because of the scandal, but a long time ago. Because believe it or not, a lot of people that used to work at that company wanted to make good games and then didn't care about the drama. Or they do care, and that's why they left the company. Because let's be real, if you are a normal employee, what can you do versus the CEO, the director, the team leader, the whatever? If you say anything bad, you will be fired. And not only that you get fired, they can also tell other companies that you were a shitty employee. And yes, many companies do that. So the best choice is to avoid getting on the bad side of the CEO, the director, the team leader, the whatevers. Anyway, like I said, the important people I think left the company. So now all that Activision does is cut things and censorship. Just what Xbox wants. And tell me one game or movie or whatever that was better because it was censored or because something was cut from the movie or the game. There is nothing that makes a game or movie better because they cut something from the game or the movie. If it's a side mission you don't want, fine, don't play it. If it's a bad mechanic or a bad mission in the main mission, just make it better, improve it. But deleting everything and censorship will not make a game better. So I'm pretty sure Activision Blizzard will not be able to make good games anymore. And I'm 100% sure Microsoft is not competent enough to do it. Let's be real, the last thing that Microsoft said is that they want to censor people and to ban people from all platforms if they are banned from Xbox. That is the shittiest thing that I ever heard. So not only that, if you say something bad in a video game, you get banned from every account, you lose all your games, and you have to buy them again. What happened to just blocking my chat privileges? And how the fuck do you know what account I have on my Nintendo Switch or my PlayStation or my Steam or whatever? How the fuck do you know about that? Let's say I use the same name everywhere. But I play on Xbox, my girlfriend plays on Nintendo, my daughter plays on PC, and my son plays on PlayStation. So let's say my son said a bad word. Or like it happened with Ubisoft, he said the word black in Spanish. That is close to a bad word from the English language. Kind of, because I don't consider it. Oh, never mind. Apparently Sea of Thieves, that it's owned by Xbox, has banned words in Spanish because it sounds bad. Because yes, you cannot talk in your own language if it sounds bad in American. Because America is the most important language. It doesn't matter if in your language is something normal, it matters what America means. For example, the word in my country for how, it's come. More exactly, it's pronounced cum. So of course, in America, I will be banned if I talk in Romanian, because the AI will say that I used a bad word. So I must be very careful what words I use if I want to talk in my own language. So yeah, because of that, I may be banned on Xbox, then because I'm banned on Xbox, I must be banned on PlayStation, Nintendo, Steam, Epic Games. And you may know these companies have shitty customer support. So there's almost no chance in getting your account back. And even if you do, it may take 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. And in that time, you cannot play anything. Because you have all your accounts banned. And what if, let's say, PlayStation doesn't want to unban me, but Xbox wants? Or the other way around. Then I get banned again on Xbox or PlayStation because the other platform decided I should be banned. Do you see how retarded is this? And everybody who says this is a good idea and a company should do whatever they want is retarded. And first of all, if you say, oh, I bet you say a lot of bad words on the internet and blah 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 blah. Fuck off. Most of the time I don't play multiplayer games. And I usually never use the chat because I don't care. I usually just want to play single player games. And when I do want to play a multiplayer game, I usually do it on PC. because I don't have to pay for online like I do on consoles. And because I don't like to use the chat or the voice chat in the video game, so I usually use another program like Discord. But most of the time I don't use chat and I don't use voice chat. When I used to play CSGO, I had the chat deactivated. I just use Discord to talk with a friend, and that's all. On PlayStation, for example, I have everything deactivated. I don't want to talk with anybody. And for some reason, I was spammed with live chat when I was playing on PlayStation, when I made my account. Because at first I was interested to talk with other people, to be friends with other people who like the same games that I like. But I saw that Sony didn't do a great job with that, and having my chat available for everyone made the horny Twitch tots spam me with their live stream. So yeah, I deactivated everything, I put everything on private, because PlayStation was not what I expected. I expected to have a chat with people that love Persona, for example. Talking about the game, talking about what they love about the game, about the next game that will come out. That never happened, and yeah. Sony didn't care to improve that. And of course they didn't, even their store is shit. It's almost impossible to filter their games and find the games that you want. Let's say you want a very small indie game, but you don't really know a lot of stuff about the game, so you don't have options to find games that are turn-based or to follow a developer that you like. Anyway, their store is shit, and they didn't try to improve it in any way, not even for PlayStation 5. From what I saw, it is better, but let's be real. It's 2022 and that's the best you can do? At least when Steam gets 30%, I know I get a good launcher, a good store. It's easy for me to find whatever game I want. And I have reviews to know if the game is good or not. Why does Sony even have reviews, or Microsoft? Because they're shit. And you want me to pay full price for a game? And for online? The only reason I still don't want PlayStation to go bankrupt, or Xbox or Nintendo, is because I can still buy games for their platform in disc. I mean, whatever, Nintendo doesn't have discs. But you know what I mean. I own the game, I have the game. I don't need internet to play the game. As soon as they don't support that anymore, I will never be interested in a console. For example, I wanted to buy Yakuza Like a Dragon on my PC. But I found the Steelbook edition for $20 new in a local store from my country. So yeah, well, it wasn't $20, it was 25 or something like that, or 40, whatever. The problem was that sure, maybe I could have get it cheaper from Steam, but it was no Steelbook edition and I had no disc. And I don't understand why a lot of gaming companies don't make discs for PC. The best thing that I saw on PC was The Witcher 3, where you get the discs and the case just like on console, but you also get a code to activate it online. So I didn't try the discs to see if the game is really there and if I can play it without the internet connection, but it should be, because the game should be there. Why else would I get 4 discs? Or I don't know how many discs was. What I mean is that every gaming company should do that. At least make a few releases like that. For example, that would be a good reason for me to pay $70 instead of $60 for a video game. Or even $80. Just give me a case with the disc inside, with the game on the disc, that I can play with no internet connection. Anyway, let's get back to the subject. Microsoft buying Bethesda and Activision is a good decision for them, but not for the gamers. Like I already said, these corporate cringe lords all think the same. They think banning and censorship is the best thing ever. And I don't see them talking about creativity, about fun gameplay, about a good story, so you should never expect good games from them. But if you get them, great! At least it shows that they still try, or that they have people that know what to do. They're not as incompetent as the leaders. Okay, now let's talk about Bungie and Sony. So Sony will not want to make Bungie exclusive to the PlayStation. it will still be multi-platform. And here's why this is not good for the consumer. And no, it's not because I want exclusives for the PlayStation, because I'm not a fucking fanboy. It's because they want live service games. So let's say they will release Destiny free on all platforms. Well, it will be a live service game. That means you don't own the game, and you cannot own the game. You can play the game as long as they allow it. So you will not be able to play the game in the future if they decide they don't want to support the game anymore. They do this because if they don't make their game exclusive and the game can be found on Epic Game Store, on Steam, on Windows Store, on Xbox, on Nintendo, they will get money from the microtransactions and other stuff like that, because how else can you make money from a live service game? Well, you can actually pay for a subscription, so I think that's an option. And they can make a good offer. For example, if you want to play the game on PlayStation, and if you own a PlayStation Network subscription, you can play Destiny for free. Or any Bungie game that's a live service or multiplayer. That will be a great service for the PlayStation fans. Because right now, their PlayStation Network subscription is shit. If you are new to the PlayStation and you have no games, maybe it's a good deal. But if you already have the console for some years, you already have the games that you love. So what can the PlayStation Network do? Give you the games that you don't like? Or give you the games that you already own? So you see, it's not really a good deal. But if it's a live service, you don't own that game. So instead of paying for a subscription, or even buying some stuff in the game, let's say you will get some free stuff in the game if you own the PSM subscription and you want to play the live service. You get some special skins and I don't know, something special. So it's a good way to keep their fanboys happy, because they will still get some exclusive deal. But if you want to play it on Steam, Epic Games, Xbox, Nintendo, they will still get money, because you can reach other fans on other platforms. And now they own Bungie, so they make the money, even if it's not on the PlayStation Store. And even if they give 40% to Steam or Microsoft or Nintendo. So it's a great way to be multi-platform. And besides getting more money, because you use all the platforms, you can still please the fanboys. Because the fanboys can say, "Oh, you may play the same game as me, but look, I have a special PlayStation skin. And I can play the game for free if I own a PlayStation Network subscription. Or I can get free stuff in the game that you have to pay for it." I don't know, fanboys will find a reason to be happy for that crap. Anyway, we will see in the future what Sony or PlayStation plans are. But I think this is not good for the gamers. And also, it doesn't matter. More exactly, it's not like Sony or Xbox bought a good gaming company and they will destroy it. I'm trying to think of a good gaming company, but nothing comes to mind. I don't know, think of a game that you like with sexy women in it. Let's say Sony decides to buy Sega, and they want to censorship and cut every sexy woman from the game. That would be bad for gaming, because Sega still makes a lot of good games. And I especially love the Yakuza games. But I don't care for Bethesda, I don't care for Activision, and I don't care for Bungie, because they stopped making good games. The worst thing that Xbox can do is delete the old and the good games from Bethesda, for example, the Fallout games, and they replace it with a censorship version. Or they remake a shittier version and they delete the old ones. The only thing that I don't like when a corporation buys a gaming company is the fact that I'm pretty sure they will delete the stuff that they don't like. For example, "Oh, you like the Persona games? Well, we'll remake all the games, but now everybody is a feminist. And everybody will talk about the environment and why is it okay to take the vaccine, and we'll make every woman in the game fat and ugly." Yeah, I think that will happen in the future, for real. They already started making remakes, and instead of making them better, they actually destroy them. Because it's not a good remake if people still want to play the original. And yeah, just because you make a remaster or a remake or whatever and you improve some pixels and everything looks better, doesn't make the game better. if you cut stuff from the game, or if you modify stuff that nobody wants to be modified. For example, I don't like big tits. I never was a fan of huge tits. But if something like that was in a video game, I don't want it to be changed. Because that was the original. If you want to do something else, make a new game. The same goes the other way around. Let's say they take Aerith from Final Fantasy and they give her big tits, they put her in some skimpy outfits, and they basically make her an OnlyFans influencer or a Twitch tot. I would not like that. Yeah, I like sexy stuff in video games, but that's not who Aerith is in the original story. So my point is, I'm not anti-censorship because I want more tits or more sexy stuff. It's because the original was made in a certain way, because somebody wanted to tell a story, somebody had a vision, and that was his vision. I don't want that to be changed because somebody else comes and think it's a better idea to do it this way. Then make your own stuff. Because you know what? If I don't like something, I don't buy it. But if it's something that I used to like and you come and change it, that's another story. It's like I buy a car that I love and then comes somebody and starts tuning my car and saying, "Oh, look how better your car is now." Dude, I didn't ask for that change. I don't like it. I buy the original because I like the original. If I want to change something, I will change it. I don't need you to tell me what I like. And that is all.